Hello, hello, hello. Happy day, people. This is Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy. I am Sean Johnson.
I am Tracy Davis-Johnson.
And our podcast is about having conversations with people 50 and over, where they're talking about their wealth, their health, and their life changes. So like, share, and subscribe. All right, so when we talk about vibe, right? Vibe is virtuous, I am beautiful, and excellent. And journaling, we talked about journaling. So I have this journal, and I want to share with you and others. This journal is only $5.
Okay.
Okay. But each day it's morning reflection. It gives you space to write down today's affirmation. What's your affirmation for the day? Your goals for the day. And at the bottom it says, I'm looking forward to, right? And then it gives you an evening reflection. I am grateful for, and the best part of my day was, I am currently feeling, and what's your self-care plan? Tell me what any of those things, how would this journal benefit you?
Well, first we just have to make sure we hold ourselves accountable. I think what you're talking about in outlining someone's day kind of gives you the option to reflect on you, on your goals, and what you want to change, what worked for you today, and how you're going to improve on it. Or, hey, I got to let that go. That didn't work for me today, be it personal or work.
Right.
And if you take the time and you're being honest in your journal, I think that helps you along the way. And I think we forget, and I'm not going to say we, I'll say I forget to take time for Tracy. So that journal to me kind of keeps you honest. And what I mean by that, it's not like a diary where I'm just free forming what happened throughout my day. That's kind of challenging you to, here's the questions.
Yeah.
Now answer this.
Yeah.
So now you got to really sit back and you got to think.
Yeah.
So I think that's how that would work for me in my personal day. But again, I got to be honest and I got to stick to the plan to do it.
Right. And it's funny because like I started off with the word vibe, and I'm looking at this. The last time I wrote in this, now I write in my journals weekly. I won't say daily, but weekly, right? And this is just a testament of how you fall off. So April 1st is the last time I wrote in here, and we had our vibe. What do you call it? Retreat yesterday, right?
Yes.
And
our second installment.
right. And then it says here with my goals, not my goals. It says today's affirmation. It says today I will empower women with a day of release, revive, renewing in a safe space. That was April 1st.
That was April 1st.
This
and the
is
funny
July.
thing, I didn't even know you wrote that, and you sent a text this morning saying
Exactly.
thankful.
I didn't even look at this.
You didn't look at it, and then I'm just hearing that statement right now, and you said a safe place, and what did I write in my thing? Thanks to the woman for sharing in our safe zone, because that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So we're in tune,
Yeah.
even though we're not always talking about,
Right.
things until now.
Right.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I
you
cut
good.
you off.
No, you good. And then the goal for the day was to build a safe space to start healing.
And definitely that started that day.
And then book the schedule for the next session, which we did because and follow up with attendees, right? And then it says, I'm looking forward to, and I said, spending the day with the women from Vibe.
And it was such an awesome day. And that's what we reflected on too. What you wrote there actually happened throughout that day. And then it happened again when we had our second session.
Right.
It really did.
And listen, honest to God, I didn't read this till just now.
And I think that's the best thing about when you're journaling, if you're, like you said, that one I like because it kind of outlines and it challenges you to different questions. But even having a diary, me and Sher were talking about that yesterday. She was saying how she found a diary that she wrote when she was 15. And we constantly ask people, what would you say to your 10-year-old self, your 15-year-old self?
Yeah.
And that's a way for you to reflect, what did I say to that 10-year-old, that 15-year-old?
Right.
And you go back and you look at what your dreams and your aspiration was then. Have you accomplished this? Have they changed? 9 times out
Right.
of 10, they may have changed.
Right.
Maybe they haven't. I don't
Right.
know. But it's interesting to journal, to write it down, and go back and look at it.
And go back and look at it. And it's amazing when you write it down and you leave it.
You leave it.
And then when you go back to it and you sit there, like you said, and you're looking at it, it's like, wow, I did this, or
Exactly.
I
Yes.
always thought like this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because sometimes we forget,
We do.
especially if you're 50, if you're 60. Cheryl's 68 years old,
Yep.
right? And she's talking about she found the journal when she was
Yeah,
15,
that's awesome. That's
right?
awesome. It is.
So
To read that, even to
exactly
read what was going on in
at
your
that
life.
time, at that
You
time,
know,
yeah,
it it's like reading an old book. I read the
right,
book before, but there's things that you forgot about. There are places that it takes you that you just, oh my goodness.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a great thing to
To
write.
journal. It
Yeah,
is.
it
It
is.
is. Journaling. And yesterday, Janice Miles, shout out to Janice R. Miles, clinical social, not, I'm sorry, clinical therapist. She's a clinical therapist. And what she was talking about with journaling,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's a way to dump the things you have on your mind
Mm-hmm.
out
Yep.
and releasing.
Release them.
Yeah,
Yes.
releasing
Yes.
those things.
Move on.
And and it doesn't necessarily always have to be negative, because that's what people sometimes when
It
people think
doesn't.
about journaling, they think about I won't say people, myself. When because I've always had a diary from the time I was pregnant with Kyle,
Okay.
right? Me maybe even before then, but I still have that too. When I went through my divorce, I took all those journals
Mm-hmm.
and I burned them. I let it go, right? I let it go. And then I started again. When I started again, I consciously put, I started off with a positive thought, a positive entry. Not that all my other
Okay,
journals were,
because that's what I was gonna
I was
say.
about to say, no, they weren't negative. I'm not saying that. They weren't negative. It was just a part of my life that I was like, okay, I, I didn't want to, I didn't want to
You're ready to move on from it.
yeah, I was just ready
You're
to
ready to move on
just
from it.
go, right? And so now in retrospect, thinking about it now, I kind of wish I had them
Yeah.
so that I
Yeah.
could
Could
look
go
at
back,
them and
reflect
reflect.
back. Yes. Yes.
But at the same time,
It's
life
okay.
happens. Yeah, things happen, right? So now here we are going forward, and I have a bunch of journals. So you don't know,
Yeah.
you're just writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now people always say, "Well, I don't journal." Because journal your own way.
Right. There's no right or wrong.
I have two right here with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Journal your own way. There's no right or
It could be
wrong.
in a notebook.
Exactly.
It could be
But
in a
it's
notebook.
so releasing.
Hmm.
It's so releasing for anything that you're trying to do or
Grow,
grow, yep, or
learn, move on
figure
from.
out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we're scatterbrained.
Hmm.
I know for me, I could be scatterbrained. If I don't write it down,
Hmm.
and then sometimes I'll write it down and leave it, not even go back to it, forgot I wrote it down. Then when I go back
You'd
to
be
it,
like, oh.
right, you know what I mean? I didn't like today, because a lot of times I don't read it again until later or
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's I think that's a practice that, especially us at 50 years old,
Yeah.
we're over 50, but
Yeah, we
50,
are,
those
but
that
it's
are 50
okay.
and up, to really, I challenge you to journal. I
Yes.
challenge you to write a love
Write it
letter to
down.
yourself.
How about
How
that?
about that?
That's nice.
Write a love letter to yourself.
Yes. And who better to write it to than myself, huh?
Right.
I'm going to challenge myself to do that before we do our next session.
And then put it in a sealed envelope,
Yes.
right? And open it a year from now.
Yes. Good challenge, my friend.
That's not my challenge. I didn't make it up.
No, but I'm just saying, good to bring it up.
Right. Yes. Write a love letter. I challenge you all that are looking at this or hearing this, because this is a short segment. This is a short segment for us. But I challenge you that are listening or seeing and watching us, write a love letter to yourself, or write a letter to your 10-year-old self, 15-year-old self, 20, whatever that is. Or think about, write a love letter if you're not 50 yet. Write a love letter to your 50-year-old
Yeah,
self.
when you open it up on your 50th.
Open it up on your
Men,
50th
men and
birthday.
women. We're not only speaking to
Yeah,
our females, we are
right.
men and
Or
women.
your next birthday. Like write a letter to
Hmm.
yourself and for your next birthday.
Right.
I think that's a good one too.
Hmm. Either
Yeah.
way, either
Either
one.
way.
You can do a
Yeah.
love letter or write a letter to yourself, like you said.
Right. And you'll be surprised on what comes out.
Yes.
You'll
You'll
be
be surprised at
surprised.
how much you've grown,
Grown.
you've
Yeah.
learned,
Yeah.
or things that you said, you know what, that wasn't a great idea and you had to abandon. But we don't know. So
Right. Right.
that's a good one.
That's a
Yeah,
good
I
one.
like that one.
Yeah. And if you do write a love letter to yourself and would like to share your experience, not your letter,
Yeah,
and if you
yeah,
want to, that's fine.
yeah.
But like to share your experience, hey, reach out to us. Reach out to us at 50thepodcast at gmail.com.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. Yay.